Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you as always. Love doing the stories of hope. And we need more hope in the world. And that's what we're here to talk about today. I'm going to introduce us to our first guest, and that is Sally Villalba, author, speaker, emotional wellness coach, relentless seeker and learner of personal and business development at all levels. Sally has a master's in international business, a BA in business, and is a bilingual, multicultural professional. She is currently pursuing a master's degree in holistic psychology and a certification in trauma-informed coaching. Welcome to the show today.
Oh, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Did I say your last name okay?
It was fine. It doesn't matter. It's Villalba, but it's perfect. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's great.
I'm so glad you're here. So, here you are. You're a businesswoman, which is really, really important. The modeling, the role modeling of having business. And obviously that was your passion because you've gotten your degrees in that. And you're also now getting certified and certifications in trauma and holistic psychology and counseling. So what is spurring you into that field?
Well, actually, I quit my corporate job in 2012 because there was just this calling. My heart wasn't there, my body wasn't there, and I wanted to do me. And I just went out and said, okay, I'm protected. I got this. And I started to venture out in things that I love to do and things that were my spark and joy. And though business was the field I was in, I used my personal development skills and I started doing training and development and a lot of other things and into that field. And little by little, I started going into the life coaching arena, which was just like it opened my heart. It really did. And through personal experience of trauma, I actually started to learn what had happened to me and educate myself in that because I didn't know my reactions or any of that. And I said, okay, what's going on with me? This is not normal. And I studied it. And through the studying of trauma, I started to see more of it all over, all over, all over. And I said, okay, if I am here to support all these people that I now see that I could not see before, I need to know what I'm doing because I'm not just going to go there. Okay, this is what happened to me. This is what I did for myself, and it's going to work for you. It doesn't work that way. So I decided I have to go into deeper studies. If I'm going to serve, I'm going to serve at a capacity that's going to be for the people I'm serving. And I started to study my holistic psychology master's degree, which I'm about to finish, and I trauma-informed coaching because though I'm not a psychologist or certified therapist, trauma, whenever I spoke about it, trauma or abuse or all of that, it was like, are you certified? And I said, you know what? I'm going to get certified. And I dove into that because, like I said, if you're going to serve in any capacity, make sure that you're doing it at a level of the expertise and that you're knowing what you're doing because it's people's lives. And if you do anything wrong, you actually add to the trauma instead of helping them get out of it.
Yeah, that's really huge. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations for, getting to this point. It's huge. It's a huge deal. And I totally felt it when you were talking about life coaching, how life coaching really was where it was at for you. It lit you up, it made you feel good. And I remember that too, myself too, when I started opening up the personal development area and field in my life, of how that made me feel because of the positivity and being
Yes.
able to change one's story and whatever the habits or traumas or whatever the things are that we have to deal with, that we can move beyond it. And that's why life coaching and having a coach is so powerful, because you can
Yes.
make a lot of changes. So that's why I said congratulations. And then
Thank
as
you.
far as the trauma is concerned, I understand trauma. I was a trauma survivor of many
Mhm.
different things. So I do understand that you really have to know what you're doing so that you don't create more trauma for the person,
Yes.
because that's what needs to be released and let go. And so many people are in post traumatic stress, and they have that cellular memory of trauma in their physical bodies, and that they're carrying it around with them. And so that's why the work that you're doing, what you're going to be helping people with releasing the traumas and transcending that trauma and go from trauma to peace.
Yes. It's wonderful you touched upon that, because a lot of people think that they can think their way out of trauma.
Oh,
And you absolutely cannot think your way out of trauma, or stuff the trauma under the rug, or say, you know what, I'm going to concentrate on my business and this is going to go away. And it won't. And unless you own it and heal it, you won't be able to move on, because it's going to show up in a different part of your life in a different moment where you least want it. Where you least want it to show up, it shows up. And it's part of the growth that we as humans get to have, is using what has happened to us as a growth leverage, or you would say, or as a growth opportunity, looking at it from different perspectives, and using those perspectives to help us say, okay, there's a different way I can look at this, and maybe I can use this for my benefit, instead of just staying there, grabbing onto it and holding on for dear life and making that your identity. There's
yeah.
a big difference.
Yeah. And so is that what you're planning on now, as you're getting the certification coming through, and you're going to be moving deeper into this trauma work with your clients?
Yes, that's my intention. And it's funny, I was talking to someone today, actually, and when I told her, I said, I have to be very careful also, because trauma is a very big word.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't believe they're in trauma, even though they are. When I was diagnosed with trauma, I absolutely did not believe I was in trauma. It took 5 different therapists for me to believe that what I was going through was trauma and PTSD. And me being in the personal development arena, in the spiritual world for so long, I was like, no, that could never happen to me. Like, I got this, I know. And I didn't. And I was in the midst of it without actually understanding, until I said, okay, this is not how I normally react. What's going on? There's something wrong that's not making sense for me. And when I listened to the fifth person, I said, okay, there's 5 people telling me this. There's got to be something here. Let me go research. Let me go check it out. And in fact, it was. And I've been in the healing journey ever since. And my gratitude is to all those people that have shown up for me,
Mm,
because some people don't have that. Some people don't even know they could reach out. And sometimes, which also happened to me, there are those that you think are there for you, reach out and they gaslight you, and they're like, no, how could that happen to you? Like, you can get over it, get up and move on. And it's not like that. So having people that may not know how to heal you or how to guide you, but just to stand with you, is so important. You don't need to have the answers for anybody. You just need to give them the love and the space that they need to just be.
yeah.
And I think that's something that we get to educate others in. It's just a massive education that needs to happen in my eyes, and eventually at one point in my lifetime, I would get to see that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, to really highlight the trauma, be trauma free as you're moving, forward, because you were in your trauma, didn't
Mhm.
recognize it. 5 people had to point it out, and you were still in resistance of it,
Right.
acknowledging it, because you probably had been so conditioned that it was normal to you to
Yes.
be in that trauma. That's what it felt like for you, and that was
Mm.
normal. So you were like, no, I'm fine, but not realizing that what you actually had was trauma that you're carrying it around, and now it's time to deal with it.
Absolutely. And like me, there's so many out there that you can just see. You
Yeah,
can see.
yeah,
And just to give them a lifeline, like, okay, there is a place where you can go reach out, no judgment, no criticism,
yeah,
just standing for you. I think
yeah.
that's so important. That
That
played
is
such a
that.
huge part in me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful truth, because we all need that support, and we all need the people that can hold the space and coach us and support us as we're grieving and processing the trauma. So it's important. What where can people find out more about you and your work? Do you have like social media handles that you want to share with our audience today?
Yes. Thank you. Well, I'm on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn since I was in corporate. So Sally Villalba on LinkedIn, I'm there. And of course, social media and Instagram. I do a lot more posts on Instagram, which is Sally's Tips, which is easy. And my website, sallyvillalba.com. And I'm updating all that, putting all this new thing in there. And I also work with quantum healing hypnosis. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and everyone is different, and everybody needs something different. And that's why there's so many of us coaches and therapists going around. And again, now everybody has mental health as a priority, which is wonderful. And I'm
It
very happy
is.
for
It,
that.
it really is a wonderful time to be on the planet, to see so many people really embracing their gifts. They're all being put in position so that we can heal that collective trauma,
Hmm.
or whatever that is still there that really needs to, be released and let go, so that we can all rise into live beyond the human condition that we were born into. So it's been wonderful to have you on the show today. I'm so
Thank
I'm so
you.
proud of you, and glad that you're doing that
Oh,
work. And we'll
thank
definitely be in
you.
touch with you again.
Thank you,
Sally,
Cornelia. It was such a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
super nice. Okay, we're
Thank
going to
you.
take a break. We're going to be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope. My next guest today is very well versed in radio and TV and all of that. She's got a background, and that is Danuta Pfeiffer. She is a progressive journalist, best known for her work in radio and television in San Diego, and has award winning memoir explains her behind the scenes experience as a co-host of the 700 Club with Robertson during his run for president. She has authored 4 nonfiction books, among them Chiseled, a memoir of identity, Duplicity, and Divine Wine, which garnered the Eric Hoffer Finalist Award and 2 international gold medals. Experiences from Chiseled have been quoted by Pulitzer Prize winning author Chris Hedges in his book American Fascists, The Christian Right and the War on America. Her book, Water Safe Your Baby in 1 Week, was the first water survival technique for infants, endorsed by the American Red Cross, now used worldwide. Wow and wow and wow. What can I say? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Cornelia.
My gosh, so you are making wine, you're doing all kinds of things, and you're still, doing appearances. So, what is it that you want to highlight today with all your vast experience? What do you want to put onto this segment?
Uh, well, there's a lot. I'm doing a lot of writing these days. I'm making a lot of wine these days, and I've come through quite a lot in my life. So I think the story is one of perhaps resilience.
Hmm. That is. Yeah. So what is the story of resilience? So being able to move through all of the things that you've moved through, and you just keep showing up, and you just keep growing and expanding. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. um, well, where do I begin?
So I just want to say, the whole piece about the water baby being used by Red Cross, I find that to be extraordinary. So do you want to touch on that, and then maybe tell us about your next book that you're writing?
Oh, Perfect. The Water Baby book was the first book that I wrote. It put me through school. I was a water safety instructor during college. During the summer, I was teaching babies to swim, and during the winter, I was a ski instructor. So I had come up with a technique that teaches infants to flip over onto their backs as soon as they feel water. As soon as there is a little jerk or a little surprise, they'll hold their breath, hit the water, and then flip over onto their backs and float indefinitely. So we're not talking about babies who are doing the Australian crawl. We're talking about a baby who could fall off a boat, fall into a pool when mom isn't watching, and be able to float indefinitely on their backs. And so that put me through that. I wrote the book, developed the technique while I was a swim instructor during a summer working as a lifeguard. And so that went into a book called The Water Baby book, and sort of started my writing career from there.
Wow, that's fascinating. I have not heard of it. So, but it's being used by the Red Cross. So that's got to be fabulous for you.
Well, it's now it's used everywhere. It's sort of a universal. It's a universal technique. But 45 years ago, it was astonishing that anything like that could be done. But these days, you can go to any YWCA and you'll see baby classes everywhere.
Oh,
So
great.
that's very heartwarming for me.
That is,
It's probably saved many, many lives.
yeah, and that's so great. Do you remember that day when you got the download to do this, to come up with the technique? Do you remember that time?
Oh, of course. Oh, yes. I was a lifeguard working at a resort in Michigan. I mean, excuse me, in California, and it was a summer resort. And a mom came up to me with a baby in her arms, and she said, "Can you teach my baby to swim? We just bought a house with a pool." And I said, "Well." I was a water safety instructor as well as a lifeguard at the time. And I said, "Well, I don't know if the owner of the resort would let me do it, but if you bring several other babies for a class, perhaps we can muddle our way through." So within a week, I had 15 babies and 15 moms standing there going like this, and they were all under 12 months old. And I thought, oh boy, now I've really got myself into I've got to do this. So we had them all in the pool at the same time, which was a disaster. So I learned slowly that one-on-one, one baby, one mom at a time, because babies can pick up any anxiety or tension that the mom or the instructor has, and sounds can also be shocking or distracting or alarming. So I made the place as quiet as possible, and over a series of weeks developed a 6-day program so that by day 6, that baby was completely self-sufficient in the water.
That's amazing. I think that's extraordinary work. I just think this is so profound. I had several segments today, shows today with women that are coming on that are teaching women how to get pregnant beyond the fertility thing.
Right.
So this piece is so important for that. And then also how to really listen, like children that have issues that are the person is going to the coach and saying, "I need you to help me fix my child. There's something wrong with my child." And then the coach saying back, "It's not your child, it's you."
That's right.
You know,
That's quite right.
right?
That's
So
quite right.
I think this is just this was so perfect. So now what you're doing is you're writing again, you're writing another book, and then you're also making wine.
Well, that was a long leap from because it took a while because I was just in college when I wrote that book, and so 45, 50 years later, I'm 5 books down the road, and I've gone from being a conservative religious television evangelist with Pat Robertson to becoming a panpsychist who believes that we're all connected to a giant consciousness.
Wow.
And I've gone from preaching to making wine. And in between, I had to clear my head with a 2,000-mile bicycle ride so that I could reconnect to myself. And then after that bicycle ride, I felt very grounded, and I could move forward with my life, and very quickly met and married my husband. I mean, when I met Robin, he was growing wine grapes in Oregon, and 12 days after we met, he asked me to marry him.
Oh, that's
and
great.
that was 27 years ago.
I hope that happens to me.
So it was just serendipity all the way. It was a wonderful way to embrace life and find meaning really in the cathedral of nature, and to be making wine. So then I was able to go back to my first love, which was writing. And so I wrote Chiseled, which really recounts that whole adventure, that memoir of the bicycle ride and that change in spiritual identity. And now I'm writing an historical trilogy, an historical fiction about immigrants on the Oregon Trail.
Wow.
So I'm having a ball.
It sounds like it. I definitely want to have you on for another podcast. I want to have you come on for another one. I want to talk to you about your change of identity, the spiritual identity. I think that itself, I would like to talk about that if you're open to it.
Oh, I would love to.
Or a longer segment where we can have a little bit more longer talk time. These stories of hope are usually just 12 minutes. So I very much enjoyed everything that you're talking about. I'm so, it was so fun to listen to you and everything that you've done. My gosh,
Thank
that's
you.
so amazing. Let's give the audience your social media handles where they can look you up. And then I don't know, do you sell wine too, or just make it?
I sell wine.
Ah,
I don't just make it, I drink it and I sell it. And it's delightful Pinot Noir. So if you know anything about Oregon Pinot Noir, we have a lovely Pinot Noir. But people can find me at danutapfeiffer.com.
They say that a little
It's my
bit.
name, Danuta, Danuta, danutapfeiffer.com.
Yes. So that's where they can find you. Yeah.
And I'm also Pfeiffer Winery in Oregon.
Yeah, I love that. So you're making wine, you're writing, you're selling wine, you're having a ball, you're connected to the universal consciousness, and just living with the man of your dreams. Is that right?
Oh, that's very right. And I love the Buddha in your background.
Oh,
I can see it back there. That's lovely. I have one like that in my garden.
Yeah. And then can I just bring Jacob on? Jacob, you typed something into the chat. What did you say?
Oh, I was just saying how much I enjoy a Pinot Noir from Oregon. So that's fantastic. I live up in the Seattle area, so.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we both do. So thank you so much for coming on the show. We're definitely going to have you back. We're going to have Ashley connect with you and have you back on the show. And we'll do another podcast with you because I think we can have more conversation.
I would love that, Kornelia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danuta. So we're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.